In reading Proust, we begin to pay attention to the miracle of being in a sensuous body, to embodiment. Proust reanimates and re-enchants us to the pleasures of the sensual world. Proust had more faith in bodily senses and memory than in the intellect to experience ultimate truths felt with our bodies, a body felt knowing. Roger Shattuck in Proust's Way says, like coffee, like whiskey, Proust's a special blend, a blend of these very fine impressions, the most vital sensations that make up a person's life, giving us the conviction of being alive, addressing the questions of what it feels like to be alive as a human being. And Eva Sedgwick, in her book, The Weather in Proust, Proust's writings carry, quote, the transformative potential of the faculties of attention and perception. In part, what accounts for these altered states when reading Proust may be described as this: imagistic writing. Henry James states in the book Paintings in Proust, quote, what the verbal artist would like to do would be to find out the secret of the pictorial, to drink at the same fountain. This is imagistic or painterly or pictorial writing, literary word painting, visual prose, the written text that aspires to the condition of a picture. Karpeles also states that writing was the way Proust painted. And there's actually a word for this in classical rhetoric, apparently, this pairing of words and pictures. It's called ekphrasis. Ekphrasis, I don't know how to pronounce that correctly. I was on Google trying to pronounce it right, but who knows, but that's the word. Imagistic writing is a profusion of metaphors. Metaphors which bridge word and image. Visual analogies which carry tremendous energy as they include the lived experience of the body and the senses, bypassing the intellect, engaging the imagination from the deep unconscious. I actually found this quote online. Proust is apparently said, quote, I believe that the metaphor alone can give a kind of eternity to the style, end quote. Proust's abundance of metaphors draws from the fields of botany, astronomy, chemistry, geology, photography, optics, zoology, medicine, and last but not least, psychology. Now, this imagistic writing mirrors Jung's privileging of the image. In Jung's psychology has also actually been called a psychology of the imagination. Jung says that the psyche, the conscious and the unconscious, expresses itself in the language of images. Jung states that, quote, every psychic process is an image and an imagining. Otherwise, no consciousness could exist. That's from volume 11 of Jung. Also, importantly, images hold or contain emotions endowed with a generative power, psychically compelling. Images are the alchemy by which emotions become more discernible, nameable, known, and thus leading to self-knowledge. In fact, Jung's fundamental concept of the psyche that he called complexes that are basic functional units and building blocks of our conscious and unconscious are defined as emotionally toned images, linking image and emotion. Here's a quote from Proust from volume 1. He too notes the power of the image linked to emotion. Here is one of his many comments on the act of reading. This is from volume 1, quote, while I was reading, came the emotions aroused in me by the action in which I was taking part. a mental picture of those joys or misfortunes, as the image was the one essential element in the complicated structure of our emotions. Now, imagistic writing can evoke unstable places in us. This is a quote I stumbled upon at an art museum in London a few years ago, which I believe captures this psychic instability. Mr. Shaw from London wrote, "The mediation of reality through images speaks to the unstable relationship between consciousness, language, and image. Perhaps these spaces where identity and difference are held together and possibility kept open are where great art resides." Proust's writings embody this instability. And this brings us to the archetypal energy of the trickster. Proust captures feeling states in words that mirror trickster energy. This is not Proust. This is a picture of the Greek god of Hermes. Hermes is the personification of the trickster archetype, with his winged sandals, wings on his hat, his staff, the caduceus, with two snakes coiled around it, which is a symbol of healing. He's always in flight, symbolizing the energy of movement, change, and potential transformation. Proust, in fact, may have been identified with Hermes, because in volume 3, he actually says, quote, "I seem to have the wings of Mercury growing on my heels," end quote. Mercury, of course, is Hermes in the Roman pantheon. Now, Hermes is considered the patron saint of analysis because this energy is transformational with qualities of psychological movement, change, multiplicity, and paradox. Here's a few characteristics of the trickster archetype in mythology. Trickster is guide of the souls to the underworld. That's actually called psychopomp. And it's always moving back and forth across borders, transcending boundaries. Trickster is messenger of the gods. So he's the god of communication. So Hermes moves between conscious and unconscious, reality and imagination. He's messenger from the upper world to the underworld, so rules all attempts to raise unconscious material to consciousness, as in dreams, and all descents of ego to the unconscious, as in active imagination. Hermes has the ability to simultaneously hold multiple levels of consciousness and meaning. The energy is a shape-shifting fluid energy. Hermes also brings chaotic instability and the unexpected. He's a change agent, so this energy is a disruptor of outmoded symptoms and beliefs. This is important as our ego clings to outmoded identifications and thereby keeps us stuck in life. And Trickster values paradox as psychological truth of the psyche.